guys, welcome back to another video. So actually I was planning on making this video about load booking for our new company again, but then so much piled on that I forgot to hit the record button.
Congratulations, Miranda. You're an idiot.
Well, I definitely feel like one. So instead of a load booking video, I'll make this video about factoring. Ready? Let's go! So before I begin, I wanted to say how humbled I am by all the outreach from you guys. I've been getting calls, emails, text messages, so many questions from you guys, and it has been amazing. I'm trying to keep up with all of it while running two companies, but sometimes things get lost, so I decided to make it a little bit easier for you guys. If you have general questions about the trucking industry or about opening your company, or you're in the process of opening your company and have a question about that, I'll put the email right here, talkabouttrucking@gmail.com. Email me there and I'll reply to you within 24 hours. Now, if you're looking to start working with us as a company driver or to lease on as an owner-operator, here's the number down below. Just call or text me. Text works better, to be honest, but call or text me on this number and I'll get back to you about that as well. That way I keep everything organized and I can get back to everyone in a timely manner.
Yeah, because right now you have quite a few unanswered texts and email, Miranda. Shame on you.
I'm trying, I promise. I really didn't expect this, so I am so thankful to you guys. Okay, now on to factoring. So first question is, what is factoring? Factoring is when you as a carrier sell your invoices to a factoring company so that you can get paid sooner. Normally, you pick up a load, you deliver a load, you invoice the broker, and then you have to wait about 30 days to get paid. Now with factoring, once the load is delivered, you send all your documents to your factoring company. They pay you within around 24 hours, sometimes a little bit more, sometimes less, and then they go ahead and collect the payment from the broker directly.
That sounds amazing. Where do I sign up?
Whoa, not so fast. Remember what I say, nothing is free in this life, folks. Factoring companies will charge you a fee, usually between 2% and 5% to pay you sooner. So for example, you have an open invoice for $1,000. You can choose to wait 30 days for the broker to pay you $1,000, or you can send it to your factoring company, which let's say charges 2.5%, and they pay you $275 within 24 hours and keep the remaining $25 for themselves.
So wait, I'm losing the percentage of the payment just to get paid faster?
Yes, exactly. The factoring company has to make its money somehow, right? Let's look at some numbers on the board. Okay, as always, I pre-filled the board and I used the numbers from last month for our reefer trailer. So here are all the loads that we did, right? Now, if you were factoring for a fee of 2.5%, this is what it would cost you to factor each load. So for a $5,200 load, it would cost you $130 to factor it. And this is for each load right here. So here it's all the money you would have received if you were factoring all of these loads. So just to make it clear, here the total was $41,500. This is the total gross we made last month. The total fees, if we were factoring all of these loads at 2.5%, would be $1,037.50. So the total money you would have received if you were factoring all of these loads would be $40,462.50. Oh, no excuses here for the handwriting, guys. But there we go. So you kind of lose $1,037 just by factoring these loads. So the question then is, why would anyone want to use a factoring company when you end up giving away some of your money? Two words: cash flow. In this business, there are two expenses that you cannot postpone: fuel and maintenance. Because if you don't pay for those right away, guess what? Your truck is stopped. Not having enough money to pay for these two essential things will essentially cripple you. So if cash flow is a problem for you, I would recommend factoring, because even though you're giving away a portion of your income, you are getting enough money in to be able to keep running and making money. But if cash flow is not a problem, then I don't recommend factoring, because you still lose money, even if it's just $1,000. Yeah, $1,000 doesn't seem like such a big deal when you compare it to the gross income, but $1,000 is still $1,000.
But wait, can I just factor some loads and not others?
This actually depends on which factoring company you work with. RTS, for example, requires that you factor $5,000 worth of loads with them every month. Now, other factoring companies might require that you sign a contract that you're going to be factoring all loads with them, so be sure to find out with your factoring company. Now, another thing to consider is this idea of a factoring reserve. Some factoring companies will pay you something like 80% of the load up front, and then pay you the balance minus the fee after the factoring company actually gets paid by the broker. So be sure to find out with your factoring company whether they do a factoring reserve. RTS, for example, does have this idea of a factoring reserve after a certain threshold, because if you're factoring something like $200,000 a month worth of loads and they are giving you all that money up front, guess who has the cash flow problem now? Yep, the factoring company. So another thing is the idea of recourse versus non-recourse factoring, and this is an important one. Most factoring companies operate on a recourse level, which means that if the factoring company fails to collect payment from the broker in due time, then they sell back the invoice to you and you have to go ahead and try to collect that payment. Now, non-recourse factoring is when the factoring company assumes the risk of potentially not getting paid.
I want non-recourse.
We all do, but the reality is non-recourse factoring usually applies only if the broker goes bankrupt. Plus, the fees are higher. Now, the last point I want to make about factoring is brokers. When you start factoring your loads, all of a sudden you can't just work with any broker. The broker has to be approved by your factoring company. I have seen this happen where a carrier books a load, tries to send it to the factoring company, and they say,
No. This is not a broker we work with.
So before you book a load, you always have to check with your factoring company whether they actually work with the broker you're trying to book the load through.
Miranda, why do you keep spoiling everything? Factoring sounded so great until you opened your big mouth. Ugh.
Because I am here to tell you the truth. So I hope this video was helpful and I'll see you in the next one. And by the way, we're still looking for those company drivers and owner-operators who are looking to lease on. Just as a reminder, company drivers start out at 70 cents per mile in our company on all miles, odometer readings, and leased-on owner-operators with their own truck and trailer make 75% of the gross. So if you're interested or you know of someone who's interested, go ahead and call or text the number right here. And if you have general questions about the trucking industry or opening your own company, go ahead and email me right here. I'll get back to you within 24 hours. And by the way, we actually offer a service to open that trucking company for you in case you don't want to deal with the paperwork. We also have a dispatching service for people who want it. So see you guys soon, and I'll talk to some of you even sooner. I'll see you guys in my next video.